Good morning, beautiful. It's great to see you. I'm so excited to be here. I'm always excited to be here, even when I think, what am I going to do today? I'm excited to be here because this is what I want to be doing. And it's too damn cold to be outside, so today we're inside with the rocks and we have this lovely piece of rose quartz, which I really enjoy because you can see these lines through it. You can actually see lines through it and all kinds of different... There you go. See, you know, it's beautiful. Morning, Nora. I can see your little face up there. So just a little piece of rose quartz today, being shiny and pink and lovely and beautiful. This is a really truly New Zealand fossil. I don't know where I found it, on a beach somewhere. So this is an old cockle shell, right? We have cockles on New Zealand beaches, and I haven't been to the beach for a while. This is many years ago. Morning, Linda! And so it's sitting in sandstone, and you can really see that it looks like sand. It's sand that's only just turned to stone, but it is sandstone. And, you know, the shell's broken a bit, and there's another piece in there somewhere. Where is it? Yeah, there's another little piece of something else, and you can see little white bits, so clearly there was a bunch of them. And I just love this. I don't think it's ever been on camera before, but there you are. It's a pretty old cockle. Good morning, Berna. It's great to see you. Woohoo! So, yeah, piece of New Zealand actually even smells like sand. Has a very distinctive sort of earthy, sandy smell, but it's not sand, as evidenced by the fact that it is actually stone. So this is a proper piece of New Zealand history. Last but not least, from something, you know, like that to something completely different, this, of course, is the most amazing piece of blue-purple fluorite that I've ever seen. And it's from the Morsina mine, I believe is in South Africa, and if it's not in South Africa, it's somewhere close to South Africa. And it's pretty rare because there's not that much fluorite left in the Morsina mine. And my friend Jenny, from whom I bought this, I borrowed it, you know. I have crystals from her place come to stay over here, and I share them with you. Maybe it's time I did that again. And this was one that I just thought, no, this is too special. I'm actually going to treat myself to this one. I don't know if you can see, but there are actually, yeah, you can. See there's rainbows in there as well? Mohammed, good morning, beautiful being. Just enjoying some fluorite today. And always I have to do this. Got to remember how to do this because the light doesn't really show. So if I there you are. Now you can see what colour it really is when the light comes through. It's just beautiful. They're really, you know, and can you see the shape at the bottom by my thumb? You can see the shape, the chevron shape. That is the typical fluoride shape that things grow in. Janine, good morning. Isn't this gorgeous? So it's a huge piece of blue fluoride, and it really is very spectacular and very special. And this side, you can see it's a bit more purple on the other side. It's not quite as translucent, but it's just gorgeous. Look at that. So it's a special piece and I enjoy showing it to you. Let me put that down now. All right, so today, I know whatever we were talking about yesterday, I remember saying, you know, we talk a lot about this whole business of creating the new self at other times, and we do. And I thought I wanted to speak about this today very practically, as you know I love to do. I am interested in the execution of things. I'm interested in things that are repeatable and that work, that have some science behind them, that you can actually say, I know it's worth putting my effort and my energy and my intention into this because it's worked for many other people and here are the reasons why, and that means that if I persist with this, it's going to work for me. And I have my own personal experience of this now, and I'm also just seeing some really wonderful examples in my community of people who are doing the same thing. And that just blesses me and excites me and inspires me and is the reason why I do what I do, because I want many, 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 many people to have this experience. And that's a whole nother story. So the thing is, if you remember yesterday, we talked about the chocolate bar, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory in the original book, if you haven't read it, when he's really poor and he only gets 1 bar of chocolate a year. To start with, he's just imagining, mentally rehearsing what it's like to eat that chocolate, because he's got to make this wonderful experience last as long as he possibly can. Because he only gets 1 bar of chocolate a year for his birthday. That's all the family can afford. They're so, gut poor. So he savours it, he enjoys it, he mentally rehearses how much he's going to love eating this chocolate. Now, what do you think neurologically is going on in that fictional character's head? Poor little Charlie Bucket, the very first time that he gets to taste chocolate, novel experience. Oh my God, this is amazing. I love this flavour. I love this experience. It's wonderful. I want more of it. What's firing and wiring? There is a neural network assembling around that fantastic experience of eating chocolate the first time. And naturally, because of all the happy things that happen when you have that happy neural network assemble itself, and then the happy chemistry, the dopamine and the acetylcholine, whatever else it is, I don't know all the neurotransmitters, I got to learn that one day. You feel good and you think, I want to do that again. Something outside of me gave me an experience, I felt this feeling, I want to do it again. So he's had his bar of chocolate, right? It's like the very first time he had chocolate, that was cool. The next time, whether it was the next bite or the next year, he had that hardware in his brain, those neural connections, that memory, that powerful, novel, wonderful experience, something you never had before. There was hardware in his brain, and you can bet, because it was so wonderful, long after the chocolate he had was gone, he was remembering it, and that was amazing, and I can't wait to do it again. And what's he doing? Mentally rehearsing eating more chocolate. And what does that do? It takes those neural connections and makes them stronger and thicker, and by the next time that he's going to have a birthday and get another bar of chocolate, which we can't do, of course, if he could go back to the very first time that he had that wow experience, oh my God, this is amazing, this is chocolate, and compare that very first experience with what he now experiences just in his mind, his memory of it, it's not the same experience at all. And if he could experience the first one and this one a year later, when it's like, oh my God, I'm going to get another bar of chocolate, there is no comparison. Why? Because the brain that's been meditating on and experiencing and remembering and practicing and mentally and emotionally rehearsing that experience has got a huge neurological network and a whole bunch of chemistry around it that didn't exist the first time. Heather, good morning, honey. That is mental rehearsal. And just to convince you that I'm not making this up, there is some science which, my inspiration, Dr. Joe, often talks about. He says, oh no, not the piano player experiment, but it's so amazing. And it is amazing. Because, you take a bunch of people, you divide them in two, one's a test group, one's the placebo, right, or the control. Not the same thing, actually. And all of them, one way or another, practice a set of one-handed piano playing exercises, chords and scales, 5 hours a day for a week or 2 weeks, I can't remember which. Now, the first bunch, they do it on a piano, and they have brain scans before and brain scans after, and at the end of the test period, there's a whole bunch of new neural connections and activity in the part of the brain that's to do with finger control, which you'd expect because they've just spent 2 weeks firing and wiring new connections about how to play scales and chords on the piano. The second group of people did exactly the same thing, but they had no piano. They just had a metronome, and they imagined it. Metronome could tick, 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 gives you a beat, right? So they imagined the exercises. They heard the metronome. They imagined the exercises in their mind. And when the researchers scanned their brains before and after, they had exactly the same amount of new connections as the people that actually played the piano. And the proof of it was that if you take those people who just done the mental rehearsal and set them in front of a piano, they could play the exercises just like they'd been practicing for 2 weeks on the real thing. So Charlie with this bar of chocolate has a completely different brain after a year of remembering that fantastic experience and anticipating the next one. So, you think, oh my God, that was an awesome experience that I had. But actually it's you, and you've changed because you have fired and wired it for however long. And your brain, it's every time you do it, you experience it again. And experience enriches the brain. It doesn't matter whether you've done it in person or not. The same thing happens if you're remembering a bad experience, by the way. Absolutely the same mechanism. It just and this is eventually, again, I'm going to find this research and read it. Joe quotes some relatively recent research, I don't know, a few years ago now, from when he was talking about it, that with our long-term memories, we make 50% of them up. We embellish them. And how do we do that? Because exactly the same way as Charlie would with, the first bite of chocolate. And then, oh my God, I just imagine how good I'm going to feel the next time I get to eat chocolate, and it's going to be like this to unwrap the wrapper, and everybody's going to be happy, and I'm going to smile, and it's going to feel like this in my mouth. All stuff he didn't notice the first time he took a bite. Same with a negative experience. You can absolutely make it grow. So it was awful enough to start with, but, by the time you've been imagining it, you have amplified the awfulness of it. This is the power of mental rehearsal, right? It's not just about the golf swing or playing the musical instrument or doing the sports thing that you want to do really well. This is life. So, you see, when you think about imagining something wonderful like eating your first bite of chocolate and deciding you want another one and having to wait a long time, like this fictional character, Charlie Bucket and Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, great example, I love this. It doesn't matter. Everything is the same. Christina, good morning. So, and I've had this experience with my own envisioning of my future. Start with, I really only had the corner of the chocolate bar. Now it's like this whole universe that I'm really getting to know, and I'm even getting to know who I am in the universe, right? So you can start with a very small kernel of an experience. And you notice when you're having a bite, the first bite of chocolate, it's delicious. It feels good to do this. Hi, Laurie. Hi, Roberta. It feels amazing to do this. But, when I first started trying and poking and prodding and exploring to connect with my future self, it wasn't easy. I'd never unwrapped the chocolate bar before, and I also didn't know what it tasted like. I really, truly did not know how it tasted. Gina Marie, Jane, good morning. Didn't have a clue. So that made it harder because I had to reach outside of my own box to connect with something that was like, where are you? I don't know what you're like. But that didn't stop me. It didn't stop me at all. Because I was determined. I wanted something, I wanted chocolate. I did. Analogy, right? For the life that we desire. So whatever it is that you desire to be, it begins with a thought and a neural network, which when you practice that thought enough, eventually, and it might feel really mechanical and really wrong, because if you want to feel happy when you're used to feeling sad, you are actually trying to move your hormonal set point. And your body is used to feeling sad. And the idea of feeling happy is not just foreign, it actively resists it because it's a significant biochemical change. Never mind the neurology that you've got to rewire, to prune apart all those sad synaptic connections and make new happy ones. It feels really wrong. It feels really mechanical. It feels really hard. And if you understand that and don't let that put you off, it is amazing what you can achieve. And now, the examples flies in my beautiful friend of mine. Now, I have met on Zoom, but mostly there's just a conversation. And I am watching her, because she's still doing it, same as me. Every day I'm overcoming myself. Do not think I say any of this from a place of having arrived. I'll never arrive. There's always more. I'm watching this beautiful being construct an absolutely entirely new neurological network, which translates into her life. This is somebody who was in such an incoherent pickle that she barely knew how to fire a positive thought. It's like, what words do I use? I don't know how to think this. I can't string the sentence together in my mind. It was really, really hard. And, the time that I would spend, I would just give her examples. I didn't realise that that's what I was doing. I was just encouraging and celebrating. Hey, you did this and you did that. And you made this choice over and over and over again. You chose yourself. You didn't just carry on in the horrendous fear that assailed her every morning when she woke up. Boom, I'm in terror. And I remember the first day she said, the terror came and I overcame it in about a minute or two. It was like, wow. It's like, yo, you did it. That was amazing. Because terror, anxiety was just the norm all day long. Didn't know how to feel happy, didn't know how to feel calm, didn't even know how to feel neutral. And I just kept on reinforcing, what she wanted, because that's what I do. And I don't know how long it's been, months, a year. I've lost track. It's not a short time, but it's probably a year or a bit less. And to see this beautiful being right, well, now spending, it's like I can choose. I can see myself going from being happy to being neutral, and I don't spiral into fear that I'm going to end up in a hole again. And if I do get upset, I can just pull myself back, and I'm okay with the flip-flop and the choosing, and I'm not so scared. It's amazing seeing the change. It really is. And I'm seeing the same change in myself. And by the way, this person's been facing serious health conditions. When we first connected, she was barely walking around with crutches. Now she's going for, 45 minutes whenever she can get out. It's astounding. Oh, and without crutches. It's like, what? Because she changed this. And that's in the context of a spinal stenosis and a whole lot of health conditions and blah, blah, blah. But I am just watching this miracle. And yes, she's connected with Joe Dispenza. She is totally doing the work. Because as much as you want to think and mentally rehearse, you have to learn how to create the feeling of being in your new life. And trust me, there's very little in her current life when we met that, it was like, it was all scary and it was all difficult and there were all these problems. And there are still lots of challenging things. But she's different, and it's amazing to watch. Really inspires me to carry on with my own work, which, I'm having some amazing things land at the moment. It's not ready to tell you about them. But I'm having amazing shit happen. It's really, oh my goodness, is what, really? How's that? I just got to keep exploring and observing, and there'll be a point at which it'll kind of come together and something can say, right, this, Matt, good morning. So mental rehearsal, mental and emotional rehearsal. It's not you can mentally rehearse till the cows come home. You got to feel it. And doing that, bringing up elevated emotions can feel really, really wrong and mechanical and hard, and you've got to be joking and this will never happen and I don't believe this and I'm so angry, I don't feel this at all. And that's okay. You got to understand that's okay. It's because you are going against what your body is used to, and it naturally resists change. It's not your enemy. It's just doing what it's programmed to do. And you've done a damn fine job programming it to do that. So now you're going to do a damn fine job programming it to do and be something else. This is how it works. And I spent, 50 years being in a state of, because I know by the time I was 5, my nickname was Thundercloud at home because I was so angry. I don't know why, I just was. was programmed for frustration and anger and after that, anxiety and fear, close enough, 50 years. Do you think it might take me a little time to turn that around, and do you think it's worth it? Hell yeah. So, that's what I wanted to share today. That it's going to feel strange. Michelle, good morning. I've just got time to say hi before I say bye. It's going to feel strange, and that's all right. Don't let that put you off. If you really want that chocolate, start imagining it, but don't stop with the imagination. Realise you actually have to stay with it until you feel it. Jen, good morning. It's got to become visceral. And I do not know of a better way to make that happen than to learn from Dr. Joe Dispenza and practice what he teaches. I'm not saying that because I think he is God incarnate. We're all God incarnate. Let's just get that straight. It's just that the information that I have learned from him has totally changed my life. But whatever it is that helps you connect to the thought and the felt reality of what you desire in your life in advance of it coming, however you do that, just realise that that's how you create the life you desire. And you can do it in the absence of any external stimulus or anything outside of you. Nothing needs to change for you to change yourself. It takes a great effort of will, it takes determination, it takes application. But what begins as challenging and difficult and becomes the greatest joy of your life to do this. Oh, Zaid, thank you. I love that I'm doing this too. That's the most wonderful thing. When you are doing what you choose to do, you're vibed up, man. The energy flows. It took me a while to get where I really chose to be. Because I didn't know, because I was programmed for other things. Nobody's fault as to what happened. So this is what I love to do. Mentally and emotionally rehearse my future. Because the more I do that, the bigger and better it gets. And the more bigger and better I get at inhabiting that and embodying that, the more it can find me. Fast. As soon as I am it, it's here. Yeah, we're all God enough, exactly. It's beautiful. I gotta stop. Just before I stop, I'm gonna be back in 3.5 hours to tell you what's happening with our Sang Marie in the Gambia. Very challenging times there. Sang Marie is also doing the work with Dr. Joe, and I'm just delighted at seeing how it's transforming him, the same way it's transforming me. Kaya, good morning, honey. So if you want to keep up with what Sang is doing, and what we're doing, and what there are needs and requirements there, not to say you must help us, but if you want to know what's going on, and see what we've managed to achieve, because we are making a difference to real people over there, not just Sang Marie now, it's kind of got bigger, then join us. I'll be back in 3.5 hours. Big love. See you then, or tomorrow. Bye-bye.